The alien fleet moved in silence through the vast expanse of space, their ships sleek and bristling with advanced weaponry. This species, known for its military prowess and unrivaled technology, had dominated the stars for centuries. Their commander, a figure of towering stature and cold precision, gazed at the glowing displays before him. They were approaching a human fleet, an insignificant force, at least in his eyes. The reports about human ships being special had reached him, but he dismissed them with a disdainful flick of his hand. Such claims were mere propaganda, exaggerations to give a fledgling species some false sense of power. Human ships, in his mind, were primitive, crude constructions. He was certain they posed no real threat. "We will wipe them out in one swift strike," the commander said to his officers, his voice filled with confidence. Around him, his crew moved with cold efficiency, their species bred for combat. They had faced countless foes, many far more advanced than these humans, and had always emerged victorious. The Galactic Council had long debated the relevance of humanity in the larger cosmic order. To the alien elite, humans were a relatively new species, still finding their place among the stars. Despite recent encounters, the Council remained skeptical of their worth. Humanity's rise had been swift but, in their eyes, unremarkable. Humans were seen as reckless, their technological advancements haphazard and primitive. The Council laughed at their so-called achievements. Their ships, in particular, were viewed as relics of a simpler time, easy targets for the more sophisticated alien armadas that ruled the galaxy. The alien commander shared this disdain. He sneered at the thought of facing such an unworthy opponent. "These humans, with their hubris, think they can stand against us," he said, addressing his crew. "Their ships are nothing but oversized scrap metal. They have no idea what real technology looks like." Reports had circulated about the supposed tactical advantage of human ships, but the commander dismissed them all. There were rumors that the humans possessed some kind of hidden technology, something that gave them the upper hand in previous skirmishes. Yet the commander found this laughable. To him, these victories were either luck or the result of weak enemies. He saw no reason to believe otherwise. But not everyone aboard the alien ship shared his arrogance. One of his advisors, a quieter, more contemplative member of their race, had studied the data more closely. As the fleet drew nearer to the human ships, the advisor approached the commander cautiously. "Sir," he began, "there have been unusual incidents during our engagements with human forces." The commander barely acknowledged him, his attention fixed on the approaching human flotilla. "What incidents?" he asked dismissively. "Ships have gone missing. Others have reported malfunctions, strange disappearances, unexplained explosions. It's as if the human ships can disrupt our sensors, interfere with our systems." The commander smirked, his arrogance only growing. "Incompetence, no doubt. Our crews panicked and paid the price. There is no mystery here, no hidden advantage. But, sir, the patterns are consistent. Too many losses to be explained by incompetence alone." The commander waved him off. "I will hear no more of this nonsense. Prepare for battle. These humans will learn what true power looks like soon enough." The advisor fell silent, retreating back to his post, but a seed of doubt had been planted. He had seen the reports, too many to be coincidence. Something about these human ships wasn't right. But under the commander's orders, there was little he could do now but watch. The alien fleet continued its advance, closing in on the human flotilla. From a distance, the human ships looked unimpressive, their metallic hulls lacking the smooth, streamlined elegance of the alien warships. The commander's confidence surged once more. His scanners lit up with readings of the human vessels, and everything seemed exactly as he expected, primitive, easily breakable. "We outnumber them. We outgun them," the commander declared, his voice booming across the bridge. "This battle will be over before they even know what hit them." The crew prepared for the assault. Weapons were primed, shields activated. The alien ships maneuvered into formation, surrounding the human flotilla. Every sensor on board the alien warships painted the human vessels as inferior in every possible way, slower, less armed, vulnerable. And yet, despite all of this, there was a nagging tension in the air. The alien advisor watched the human fleet with wary eyes, noting how calm they appeared. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As the alien ships moved in for the kill, the commander gave the order. Open fire! But even as the first volleys of energy erupted from the alien ships, the humans remained unmoved. The battle, which the aliens assumed would be quick and decisive, had only just begun. What lay hidden within those human ships was about to be revealed, and the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The first volleys of plasma fire erupted from the alien fleet, streaking through space toward the human ships. The alien commander sat back, expecting the human vessels to crumble under the onslaught. He anticipated the joy of watching their primitive ships torn apart by his superior firepower. Yet, something went wrong, terribly wrong. The human ships didn't just withstand the attack, they responded with uncanny precision. The human vessels evaded the incoming fire with a grace and speed the commander hadn't anticipated. They moved unpredictably, as if they knew where every shot was aimed before it even left the alien cannons. Frustration mounted in the commander's chest as one attack after another missed its target. His officers, usually calm under pressure, began to report strange anomalies on their sensors. Their systems, supposedly infallible, struggled to lock onto the human ships. "What is happening?" "Adjust targeting," the commander barked. But it was no use. The human ships were not just dodging, they seemed to be messing with the alien systems themselves. The fleet's sensors, once fine-tuned to perfection, flickered and sputtered, providing inaccurate readings. It was as if the human vessels had vanished, leaving the alien ships firing blindly into the void. As the alien fleet scrambled to recalibrate, the humans unleashed the full extent of their hidden capabilities. Their ships, which had appeared rudimentary at first glance, suddenly shimmered as advanced stealth technologies kicked into gear. Hulls that once seemed simple and exposed now flickered with protective fields that absorbed energy blasts. Alien officers, who moments ago had laughed at the sight of these ships, now stared in disbelief as the humans performed maneuvers that defied logic. One human ship in particular drew the attention of the alien commander. It seemed to vanish entirely from the scanners. For a tense moment, the aliens lost all visual and sensory contact with it. Then, in a stunning move, the ship reappeared, behind the alien fleet, out of firing range, and perfectly positioned for a devastating counterattack. "Impossible!" the commander muttered under his breath, as he watched the impossible unfold before him. His mind raced to comprehend what was happening, but there was no time. The human ships pressed their advantage, launching coordinated strikes on key alien vessels. Explosions ripped through the alien fleet as ship after ship succumbed to the relentless human assault. What had started as a confident, easy victory now teetered on the edge of catastrophe. Panic rippled through the alien ranks. Captains and officers scrambled to maintain control, their once well-oiled machine of a fleet descending into chaos. Communications broke down as the human ships executed flawless maneuvers, slipping through defenses and striking with deadly precision. Reports flooded in of strange malfunctions, weapon systems failing, shields collapsing, and engines sputtering. It was as if the human ships had tapped directly into the alien systems, turning their own technology against them. "We're being jammed! Systems are unresponsive!" one of the alien officers shouted. "It's like they're inside our ships," another added, wide-eyed with fear. The commander's blood ran cold. For the first time, he understood the full gravity of the situation. The humans had not just built ships capable of competing with their advanced armada, they had created vessels that surpassed his wildest expectations. What he had dismissed as human bravado was now a brutal reality. Their special ships were no myth, they were a nightmare unfolding before his eyes. Desperation began to set in as the alien commander watched his proud fleet unravel. His officers, once confident in their technological superiority, were now shouting conflicting orders in a desperate bid to salvage what was left of the battle. But the humans showed no signs of relenting. Their ships swarmed the alien vessels with a precision that bordered on supernatural, cutting off any chance of regrouping or counterattack. "Commander, we must retreat," one officer pleaded, his voice shaky. The commander, once so sure of victory, hesitated for the briefest of moments. His pride screamed at him to fight on, to refuse defeat, but reality was harsh. The humans had them surrounded, their fleet crippled and teetering on the brink of annihilation. The order to retreat came too late. As the remnants of the alien fleet attempted to flee, many of their ships found themselves trapped, disabled by the relentless onslaught of human countermeasures. The battlefield was littered with the wreckage of alien vessels, drifting helplessly in space. The commander's flagship limped away, its systems failing, his once grand fleet in ruins. In his stunned disbelief, the alien commander stared at the distant human ships, still intact and powerful. His mind raced, filled with questions that he had no answers for. How had humanity, this supposedly primitive species, developed ships so advanced that they made a mockery of his fleet? How had they achieved such tactical superiority? As his fleet retreated into the darkness, the commander could only wonder what other surprises humanity had in store, and whether the galaxy was truly prepared for the force that humanity was becoming. The battlefield lay quiet now, littered with the debris of the once proud alien fleet. Twisted metal and broken ships floated aimlessly through the void, the silence a stark contrast to the chaos that had reigned just moments ago. The human ships, still intact and remarkably unscathed, regrouped in perfect formation. There was no need for further combat. The victory was decisive. A terse message crackled over the communications link, aimed directly at the retreating alien forces. "You were warned." It was brief, simple, and carried with it a weight of finality. The human captain spoke with calm authority, as if the battle had unfolded exactly as expected. The alien commander, still reeling from the disaster, sat frozen in disbelief. His hands trembled as he listened to the transmission. Every assumption he had made about humanity had crumbled in the span of minutes. He had ignored the warnings, dismissed the reports, and arrogantly assumed his fleet's superiority. Now, he was forced to accept that he had been utterly wrong. The humans weren't just lucky, their victory was intentional, strategic, and devastatingly precise. Across the galaxy, in the heart of the Alien Council, the news of the crushing defeat spread like wildfire. Urgency rippled through the corridors as members of the Council, composed of various species, scrambled to convene an emergency session. The holographic screens displayed scenes of the wreckage, the sheer destruction inflicted upon their forces. No one had expected such a result, and the implications of it were too great to ignore. The room filled with anxious chatter as council members debated the events that had unfolded. Some were furious, their pride wounded by the realization that the humans had outmaneuvered them. They demanded retaliation, insisting that this humiliation could not go unanswered. Others, however, were more measured, seeing the potential threat that humanity now posed. "How did they do it?" one council member asked, eyes narrowing as they reviewed the reports. "Their ships, they're not what we thought. This wasn't just an anomaly. It's worse than that," another member added. "They've managed to outthink us. Their tactics were something we didn't even anticipate." The advisor who had tried to warn the alien commander before the battle spoke up, his voice calm but laced with frustration. "I warned you all. There have been growing signs of humanity's tactical prowess. Their ships are not just a technological advancement, they're a reflection of the way they think, the way they fight. We underestimated them, and now we're paying the price." The council fell into a heavy silence, the weight of the advisor's words sinking in. Humanity, a species once regarded as a minor player in the grand scale of galactic affairs, had just demonstrated that they were not only capable of defending themselves but of doing so in a way that outstripped even the most advanced militaries in the galaxy. As the council debated their next steps, the alien commander sat alone in his quarters, replaying the battle in his mind. The weight of his disgrace pressed down on him. He had lost more than ships today. He had lost the respect of his peers and the confidence in his own abilities. But what gnawed at him most was the realization that it wasn't the human ships that were special, in the way he had thought. No, the ships were an extension of something far more dangerous: the human mind. It wasn't just about technology or firepower. The humans had adapted, innovated, and anticipated the movements of his fleet in ways he hadn't even considered. Their strength didn't come from superior weapons or armor, but from their strategic flexibility, their ability to think outside the rigid doctrines that had guided his own fleet. The humans had played a game he hadn't even realized they were playing. He thought back to the reports he had dismissed. All the strange disappearances, the unexplainable losses of ships after encounters with human vessels. It had seemed impossible at the time, but now he understood. Humans were unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. Their ships reflected this quality, built not just for strength but for the kind of cunning that had outwitted his fleet. As his thoughts spiraled, a message began circulating throughout the galaxy, passed from one species to another like wildfire. Human ships are special, because humans are special. The galaxy would never view humanity the same way again. What was once a species dismissed as technologically backward was now a force to be reckoned with. Humanity had proven their ingenuity, their tactical brilliance, and their capability to outmaneuver even the most seasoned galactic powers. This battle was not the end, it was merely the beginning. Alliances would shift, new conflicts would emerge, and humanity's role in the galaxy would be forever altered. They had earned a seat at the table, not as a minor player, but as a rising power capable of shaping the future of the galaxy. And with their newfound reputation, the galaxy would be forced to confront a simple truth: underestimating humanity was no longer an option.